And we're talking with Michael Roberts at CPrime.com. We're just talking about Agile. Is it a process? Isn't it a process? If you're concerned about how your software development is going, if you have needs, if you're poking around, if you're trying to figure this stuff out, first of all, what are some of the folks that are out there that are viewing this, that are listening to it? What are some of the things that they can do in order to initiate this? Not just going to cprime.com. Can they connect with you? Are there other things that they should be looking for? Red flags, maybe?
Absolutely. So a lot of the challenges that we hear from our customers are riddled through the internet and LinkedIn posts and the sidebar coffee conversations. So these type of things, if they're having a problem with delivering stuff on time, which a lot of teams are, right? They got deadlines and they're trying to meet the demand and meet the deadline. If the product you're producing has a lot of defects and a lot of quality problems, and that doesn't always mean software either. I mean, a lot of what Agile was built for was to build software in a better, more efficient way. But you can also find a lot of benefit in Agile working in HR departments and marketing departments. So it's not always associated with doesn't always have to be associated with technology. It's a way that people work, and doing those Agile processes and having that Agile mindset should allow you to have a better quality product, to be able to produce things more on time, to be able to communicate with your stakeholders and your customers better. So yeah, that message is kind of all over the place, and you can find a bunch of tools. You can go to YouTube and find some helpful stuff there too. But at the end of the day, the hard part comes getting large groups of people to be able to be reading off the same sheet of music, and that's very difficult. I think that's where we excel in providing that value to the customer, to be able to do that, get everybody reading off that same sheet of music.
Amen. Yeah, I see it definitely working departmentally in a variety of ways. We were talking about this before the episode. And listeners and viewers, you already know each one of these episodes is in 5P format. We've gone through situation, mission. We've talked through a little bit about execution. Now we're in the admin and logistics portion of the 5P op order. And what we find in working with organizations running their businesses, like from a military operational standpoint, is Agile fits very well into a variety of departments. Just as, say, from a manufacturing standpoint, Plan, Do, Check, Act works in a variety. Okay, in healthcare, it's relationship-based care fits within how they're going to execute. But then the structures overall, the divisions, that's where 5P comes into it. So that's how at least we see this as mutually benefiting in that regard. Because again, it's so difficult getting people to play out the same sheet of music, but it's also that buy-in. Because how do you get your people to provide feedback? Right, yeah, I'm sorry.
On top of that, I didn't mean to interrupt it. This is the hardest, one of the hardest challenges organizations have today. And I'll use some very generic examples of this, but and this is not an age thing, but there's a lot of organizations that are run by older folks, that have come through the ranks and done the things for years, and they may be at a single company for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Sometimes they may move around a little bit, but they're usually folks that have some experience, and that's what makes them valuable, right? They have experience, they've done it before, they've been there, they've done that. Well, the things that were done in the 1970s and 1980s are not the things we're doing today. The way of working and the folks that work for these companies, they're expecting a different experience. They're expecting a different output. The market is different. The market is challenging these companies and how fast they bring stuff to market. And so the folks at these leadership levels that have been around and they've always done it a certain way, they don't necessarily want to change because the proof is in the pudding. Well, I've done it this way for years. Why would I change how I'm doing it? And
Right.
and that causes a lot of frustration. And so part of our role as an external consultant is to come in and go, hey, look, I know you've done it this way, but let's try something different because you're banging your head against the wall and you're not getting the results you want. Let's try something different and see what happens.